It is Monday, May 12th, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. Great to have producer Dan back with us as well, and great to have your electricity working today.
Yeah, the lights are on. I'm happy. I appreciate Jake for filling in and you for taking the show over as you always do. But yeah, that was kind of a random thing. I'm here now, though.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. We certainly hope that everybody had a wonderful Mother's Day out there, and there was some great stuff around baseball that we'll share a little bit later. But as I mentioned, it is great to have one of our rocks back with us, Dan Rourke, who unfortunately missed the last several days. Dan's mom, Janice, passed away suddenly last week. And all I can tell you is I read the obituary about her, and I think I learned more about her in 4 or 5 paragraphs than I do about most people that I interact with. Here she is with Dan, which proves that Dan graduated. So obviously his parents did a wonderful job. But she seemed like an amazing woman that was a total free spirit. And they said in lieu of donations and flowers, she would want you to go out and enjoy life the way that she did. And when I read that line, I about lost it, dude.
No, it's amazing. She, first of all, I never met her, but I know her son, and I love her son. And that's kind of, you've talked to moms, if their kids are good people, then they're happy with, how things have gone. And Dan's one of those guys. So shout out, Dan. We love you, man. We missed you. We're happy you're back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Janice Rourke, you did a hell of a job. That's all I can say. So we are a family around here, and everybody that tunes into the show, we are obviously appreciative of it, and y'all know how much Dan means to us. So we will do today's show in the honor of Janice Rourke. And we get it going with a pair of teams from the Midwest that are going north in the standings. One started Sunday on fire. The other one finished with some serious smoke.
That one hammered down the line. Did he keep it fair? He did into the second deck. A leadoff homer for Nootbaar. Happy Mother's Day. It's 1-0 Cardinals. Shoots this one fair inside the left field line. And Deshaun Kersey Jr. swings away and walks it off.
Okay, so your little Twins and the St. Louis Cardinals, each winners of 8 in a row. Do you believe in one, both, or neither long term?
You calling them the little Twins? That's mean. Okay, come on. Do I believe in either of these teams? I mean, I do believe in them, so I'll say both, because the way they're winning, I think, is sustainable. It hasn't been crazy offensive output performances that you could say are going to regress to the mean. Like, they've just been pitching the ball well. And I think the Twins, that was supposed to be their calling card at the beginning of the season. It really wasn't there. And then they've just, since like the first week, they've been one of the better pitching teams in all of baseball. The Cardinals over this win streak have kind of done the same thing. They've made some additions, or not additions to their bullpens, just kind of like refiguring in the back there. Steven Matz going and kind of being the long guys allowed them to do some different things. But over this 8-game win streak, Rose, 20 innings pitched by their bullpen, only 2 runs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think either team has like an offense that's going nuts right now. It's a bunch of guys kind of like getting the job done from time to time. Brendan Donovan obviously started out really hot for the Cardinals. Contreras is really picking it up as well. So they're getting decent offensive performances, but it's been the pitching staff. So like in my mind, like that's what teams have to do for me to believe in them, is have starters that can give them, keep them in games. And then if they do get the lead, they have a bullpen that can shut things down. Both these teams right now have that. So I believe in both. What does that mean for the rest of the season? I don't really know, man. Like, the National League's really tough. But right now, the Cardinals are sitting in front of the Brewers, second place in the NL Central. And they could, in a reset year, could they go on a run and maybe add something? I don't know. Like, right now, it doesn't seem to me like, if I'm a Cardinals fan, like, what do you necessarily need on that team to get better? And I could say the same thing for the Twins. Like, sure, like anyone can add, another lockdown reliever or, a big time starter, but I don't think either of these teams are in the market for that or will do that. Like, the team that they have on the field is kind of like good enough. So I believe in both these teams.
Twins still have a lot to prove to me in relation to the 3 teams ahead of them in the division. So we're talking about Tigers, Guardians, Royals. Minnesota's 3-8 against them combined right now. So show me something. They've lost series to each of those teams. Show me something that you can stare those teams face to face and not lose, whether it's by a walk-off, one-run game, or, beat them up one time. I need to see more out of that. I'm going to focus on the St. Louis Cardinals, whose hat I am wearing. I've had a lot of people say, why haven't you been talking about the Cardinals? Well, until the last week, y'all haven't given us much to talk about. They've just kind of been okay. And both of us picked the Chicago Cubs to win that division. I still think it'll happen. But I actually like the Cardinals more between the Cardinals and Twins because this division is not strong. The Reds are up and down all over the place. The Pirates just fired their manager. And the Milwaukee Brewers, fine. They're fine. They've got some issues. They just sent Tobias Myers down over the weekend as well. So they've got some issues that they're dealing through. The Cardinals, the things I love. Brendan Donovan has been wonderful this year. Victor Scott has gotten an 11-game hitting streak. You mentioned about Contreras. Lars Nootbaar has been solid. Their starting rotation is what I would call sneaky effective, right? Sonny Gray is good. Eric Fetty had his first complete game shutout the other day against his old team, one of his old teams. I thought that was cool. Matthew Liberatore has been a guy who has been borderline outstanding for him. Also has a sub-1 whip. You mentioned the bullpen, and they haven't given up an earned run, I think, in over a week now. So that's pretty good. Steven Matz, his role in the bullpen, you mentioned the versatility and the flexibility it can give Ali Marmol. Part of the reason he's been so good is that he's striking out dudes without giving up any walks. So 7 strikeouts per walk this year, as opposed to a little bit over 3 in his career. That's going to help you win a lot of ball games. So I do think that the Cardinals can stick around until the Cubs make a trade. And then I think that the Cubs step on the accelerator, and then I don't like the Cardinals sticking around compared to the rest of the National League.
The Cubs need help, Chris. The Cubs need some help in that bullpen. They also got the Pope kind of like shunning them a little bit for the White Sox. That we'll see how that plays out.
Yep, I'm sure that's going to be the downfall right there. We nailed it.
How sports works, Chris. Don't think that's not a big deal. The Cubs were flaunting that the Pope was a fan of theirs. All of a sudden, he's like, actually, no, I'm a White Sox fan. That hurts. That hurts them. St. Louis's defense has also been incredible too. So they have a lot of pitch to contact guys in that rotation. Not a big strikeout rotation. But if you play defense like that, it's okay.
I guess my point is that the Cardinals are not going to make the playoffs if they don't win the division. And I still like the Cubs in the division. That's where I sit.
You did not give enough credit to the Minnesota Twins. This is, again, I get okay, there's teams ahead of them. They haven't played well against them, but Royce Lewis, Byron Buxton, Carlos Correa are playing. I wish Wallner was there. Then we have a real complete team. I know Royce hasn't been great. I think his first hit of the season was it yesterday, I think, or might have been Saturday. He still needs to get his legs under him a little bit. But I think there's a run. Obviously, we're on one right now. I think there's a sustainable run coming for the Twins. I think they're much better than they started out.
Okay. They're going to have their chance because they still have 3 series against each one of those teams ahead of them in the standings. Just win some games against them. 3-8 ain't going to get it done.
It's May 12th.
Right. You've played 11 games against them, and you're 5 under 500 against those 3 teams.
Oh, we should do that bet again between the Guards and the Twins.
Yeah, what was that bet?
I think I took my shirt off for an episode, right? Or did
you sure did. But I joined you in a show of solidarity.
We'll have to do a Twins-Guardians bet coming up here soon because I think Twins are 2 games back of the Guardians, so it's close.
I will say this, and I know that a lot of St. Louis fans are going to say, well, you just shat all over them. No, all I said is I think that they're not good enough to get a wild card. So unless they win the division, I don't think they're getting into the playoffs. I love this quote from our friend Katie Wu in The Athletic, quoted Nolan Arenado as saying, we're excited to come to the ballpark first time in a couple of years where it feels like we're coming to the ballpark ready to win a ball game instead of coming to the ballpark hoping for something good to happen.
That's nice.
That's good.
Katie Wu gave me some stats on the Cardinals that I just used in that little rant. So,
same here.
You texted her too?
Of course I did.
Oh, she's got it from both of us.
Yeah, she's probably like, what a couple of knuckleheads these guys
Shout
are.
out Katie Wu.
She's the best. All right, this is not the best. I can't believe it. We're talking Rockies for the 3rd straight show, and for the 3rd straight show, it's not for a great reason. Second time in less than a week that a National League team has dismissed a skipper. Rockies fired Bud Black and their bench coach Mike Redmond a day after the team lost 21-0 to the San Diego Padres. I'll repeat that, 21-0. So Dodger skipper Dave Roberts was given his first crack at a major league job by Buddy Black down in San Diego. He was asked about the move afterward. He said, quote, "I'm bummed. I'm disappointed. I don't think Casey Stengel could change the outcome of that ball club, and that's not the manager's fault." Do you like it that Dave Roberts has fired shots?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It goes both ways. Like Casey Stengel couldn't help that team out, and Joe Schmo couldn't mess up a team like the Dodgers, really. I mean, it's kind of works both ways. I've talked about that many times. Like the manager is there to talk to the media, to give a sense of direction. And I played for different managers that are more hands-on, more hands-off. But by and large, yeah, it's the product on the field. It's the guys that get put on that team. So I think if you're talking about like in terms of like who determines how the team plays, I think the front office is number one because they put together a team, and you have to like find decent players, and then it's the players to go out there and do their thing, and the manager's like way down the list, even like maybe behind the pitching coach and the hitting coach. I know it sounds crazy to say that because this is the head of the team, but like in reality, like again, a manager's job is to talk to the media, to make some in-game decisions, but a lot of those have already been mapped out from, I don't know, man, like this is not Bud Black's fault at all. But like it's just how the game works, Chris. We see it from time to time. We just saw it in Pittsburgh, like you said. Is this going to spark the Rockies? I don't know. We'll see. Probably not.
I do like it that Dave Roberts came to the defense of his friend and that he's loyal and he's appreciative. I think most managers do back other managers because they know how vulnerable their job is. That we've now seen the GMs in Pittsburgh and Colorado respectively hang on to their jobs when they're probably more at fault than the guys who are in the dugout.
Yeah.
But we know that usually that's the way it rolls. And by the way, those guys are hanging on to a thread. They'll be gone after the season if somehow they don't miraculously turn this around. I hate to be so flippant about somebody's job future, but that's most likely going to be the outcome here. I love Buddy Black. I don't know. Do you know him at all?
Not really. Obviously, just playing against him, but nothing personal.
So Bud Black went to San Diego State, and he ended up knowing my oldest brother's dear friend from Cleveland, Ohio, a guy named Gary Weiss, who ended up transferring to San Diego State, and they became friends. So whenever I would see Buddy, he'd go, "Chris Rose grew up in Beechwood, Ohio." It's actually Shaker Heights, but he always thought it was Beechwood. And friends of Gary Weiss. He'd always, it would be like the longest introduction ever. Hilarious. So like just a nice human being, a true gentleman, treated people with respect. And with all that being said, I understand a little bit why the Rockies had to do this. Look at what happened the last week. Now, before yesterday's win, and it's odd that Buddy got fired after actually winning a game 9-3 over the Padres. But before that, this team had lost 8 in a row. We know the horrific start they're off to, 7-33. I mean, my God. But the 4 losses before Sunday's win, they gave up 10 runs, 11 runs, 13 runs, and then 21 runs. It sucks to lose. But when y'all are losing by football scores on 4 straight days, something has to happen.
What's Bud Black supposed to do?
Nothing.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Dude, did you watch any of those games? Like, I watched the doubleheader against the Tigers because there wasn't much else on. I was like, what am I doing?
A lot of meatballs is what I see.
It was bad. Ended up winning 44% of his games in Colorado since being hired in 2017. Made the playoffs twice. This is where it's different with the Pirates. And I suppose the question I want to know is, do you think that if the Pirates hadn't fired Derek Shelton last week, do you think that Bud Black would have bitten it on Sunday?
Are you saying the Rockies are reactionary?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that might be the case. I think you're right. At first I was like, "No, man, I'm sure this was in the works. They've had to talk about it for some time." I'm assuming this is like a big deal to fire a manager. It's not an easy thing to do, especially during the season. And, I don't know, Chris. I think that maybe it expedited the process a little bit. And then the 21-0 score came, and then it was like, okay, we got to do this tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that the Rockies said, well, hold on, the Pirates just fired their manager, and they've got twice as many wins as we do. If we, and people were floating it out on social media. I don't think the decision makers in Colorado are sitting there on Twitter going, wonder what we should do now based on what everybody's saying. But right, there was that public outcry that how the heck does Bud Black still have his job, which once again is, in my opinion, an ineffective way to run your business. But who am I? Here's the difference between the Pirates and the Rockies. The Rockies did make the playoffs twice under the leadership of Bud Black. And they, as an organization, they've made it 4 times since 2007. You know who else has made it to the playoffs 4 times since 2007?
Oh, gosh.
The New York Mets.
Yeah, I was going to go there. I was getting there.
So, I mean, not going to say they're on par with the New York Mets, but they've made it to as many World Series.
Mets fans are in such a good headspace right now. They don't care. But like prior to 2024, that would have hurt Mets fans to hear that. Now, I'm not
here to drag down the Mets fans because I don't think anything can nor should. But I guess my overall point is that the last few years the Rockies have been horrific.
Yeah.
But in terms of a little longer lens, it hasn't been what the Pirates fans have gone through. Is my point.
Okay.
No? Do you disagree?
I think when's the last time they made the playoffs? 2017, you said? 18? It's been a long time, Chris. It's 7 years of just bad baseball.
Really bad baseball.
So, no, I don't know.
I'm not saying it's significantly better, but it's better.
The managers aren't going to make a difference. Although Don Kelly did get a series win in his managerial debut. So maybe I'm wrong in Pittsburgh.
We'll get to that in a bit. All right, make this your best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. You just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do exactly what you want with your day in the upcoming summer. So get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart or Protein Plus or Keto and more. Factor powers your day with satisfying breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. In fact, there's my buzzer letting me know my Factor meal is almost ready. It's got everything. As I mentioned, even guilt-free snacks, even desserts. It's easy to savor more this spring. Factor meals pack in the flavor with none of the fuss. Get started at factormeals.com/today50off. Use that code today50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's a big deal because the box is pretty big. That code once again, today50off at factormeals.com/today50off. 50% off plus free shipping. Enjoy that meal. All right. Certainly hope you enjoyed the fun 4-game set between the Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Cool Serpientes purple unis, they're even better when they're on a human being and playing baseball. Did you like the unis?
I like them. They look good.
Okay, good. I need to get a Serpientes hat, I think. That thing is awesome. The team split the 4-game set. That included Friday's 14-11 Dodgers win. You had Lourdes Gurriel. He hit a grand slam in the early going, erasing an early Dodger lead. What does he do? He celebrates by, putting his hands in the air. And then eventually it gets to 11-11, and Shohei comes up in the 9th inning. And what does he do? He hits a homer, and he puts up his, and everybody's like, oh, look at him. He's tossing the bat. He's doing the Lourdes Gurriel thing. He's mocking him. Well, here's what Shohei's skipper had to say afterward.
He's, between him and Barry Bonds, that's the 2 best players I've ever seen. I play with Barry, but what Shohei does in the clutch, I've never seen anything like what he does in the clutch.
Is that hyperbole, or do you think that Dave Roberts is on the mark?
No, if you really think about, the 2 people that people really talk about, best players of all time, Barry Bonds always gets mentioned, because of what he's done. Go look at the stats. It's crazy. And then obviously you have the PED stuff with him. So it's interesting. But Shohei, who I call the most talented baseball player that's ever played the game of baseball. I don't think there's even really a discussion about it. I think those two kind of do align. I mean, what Shohei does on the field now, like his hitting stats are never going to be what Barry's were over a long run of time. At least I don't think they are. Maybe they'll get there. I don't know. But he certainly does feel like he's inevitable in situations, like he's going to get the job done. And then he puts up these massive series, massive games, and he's just so fun to watch. You just can't say enough about Shohei. And I also don't think he was mocking Gurriel at all. I don't think
You don't.
I don't because I don't think he I don't know him as a person. I don't think he is spiteful like that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's in the dugout. He's like, I'm gonna get that dude. To me, it seems like he's kind of focused on his own thing. And I've seen him put his hands up like that before. I really don't think he was mocking Gurriel.
Okay.
Do you?
I kind of wish he was. I think it would add another layer to this whole thing. This has been a
do
fun
you
little,
though?
No, I think that felt more like a natural reaction than anything. I do. I presented it in the VO as, oh, he's mocking Lourdes Gurriel. I don't really know if he is or isn't.
A lot of people were saying that.
Huh. Yet now I don't know. The more I look at it, it looked like just a natural reaction. You tell me. I can't imagine that you're sitting there in the batter's box thinking, boy, if I click this guy and give us
I would. Yes, no, 100%. Like there were times where I would have loved to do that and probably have thought of doing it. You have to go execute as well, by the way. You can't just think about it. You got to go hit the homer. So, I mean, I'm petty enough to do that. I just don't think Shohei cares enough.
That might have been my favorite thing you've ever said on the show. I'm petty enough to have done it, but I don't know if I could have done it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do it. That makes sense. I don't know.
Oh, that is great. We have this conversation. It feels like every few months. The first 6 weeks of the season, I was like, what has Shohei done? And then you sit down and you look at his stats. Only Judge has got a higher OPS. What is he, top 5-ish in homers? He's second in triples. He's got almost 25 extra base hits. I don't know if he's the greatest clutch player. That's all I can tell you is for people that didn't sit through the prime Barry Bonds years and watch every at bat like I tried to on a nightly basis, you watched it because you wanted to see the one pitch he was going to get thrown, maybe an at bat or perhaps a night, if he was going to obliterate it. And then when he did, you were like, I cannot believe it. I don't feel that way with Shohei because there are times where he's, ass out, lumbering the other batter's box.
Barry was never like that.
Never.
Yeah, I agree.
Never.
With you there.
He was just in here tight, and he would keep balls fair that other guys couldn't, and he'd hit it 400 feet.
Yeah, his hands were always tied to his body. I guess in the game of baseball, clutch situation up in the ninth, who is the guy that pitchers don't want to see in the box? And I think Judge is a great answer for that. Don't want to see Judge because he can clip you to any part of the park. But I think him and Shohei you can get both of them. Like, I don't know if they're the right answer. They're probably the two best hitters in the league, but I don't know if they're the right answer for who pitchers are scared of the most, because I think a guy that doesn't strike out is probably one.
I think Shohei's teammate would be more
Freddie Freeman.
Yes. In fact, I wanted to talk a little bit about him. He had 7 hits in this 4-game series. He went 4 for 4 on Mother's Day, and many of us know about the story about Freddie Freeman. Lost her as a teenager. It's the reason he wears long sleeves, regardless of if it's a billion degrees outside, because of skin cancer, and he talks to people at first base about it. I mean, his numbers. What did he go? He felt like he went 2 weeks without playing almost this year, and he is crushing the baseball, dude. He's under 600 hits away from. Is he under 600 or 700? Let me see here. He's less than 700 hits away from 3,000, and he told us on Dugout Discussions that is a big, big part of this whole thing.
That's huge. I mean, 3,000 hits is crazy. No, I don't know. He is the professional hitter in those situations. I don't think it's him either, to be honest with you. I love Freddie and what he's done. I'm trying to think of the one guy. I think I've said Soto before because he can get on base with the best of them. I guess leave a comment. Who's like the person you don't want to see in those situations? It doesn't have to be a Shohei or a Judge. I think those are obviously scary at bats, but I think guys think there's some holes there. They get some swing and miss from both of those guys.
Do you
I
know
wonder
what
who.
you know what question's going to get asked by the consumers out here, our followers? What
So-
time of year is it? May or
Oh,
October? No,
talk in October. Is
people are going
is
to
like
ask that.
Alex Bregman the guy? Like, is he someone?
No, I mean Bregman's got a sub 800 OPS in October, which is, I mean, it's like 790 or something, which is great when you think about what sort of pitching you're facing in October.
Who's the scariest hitter in clutch situations in baseball right now? Is it Bobby
Dan, I
Witt Jr.?
smell a graphic. And you know what? Do a little research. Throw a name, but also come with your research. Go there. You have things at your disposal. This little interweb thing can help you out instantly.
The answer is probably Aaron Judge. I don't know.
I think right now, based on what he does, he's got more 3-hit games this year than 0-hit games.
That's insane.
I think we're asking, game on the line in the 9th inning, who do you want up there right now? I think that's it.
Jordan obviously has not played well this year, but
No,
he's a
he has
name
not.
that you got to have in the conversation.
Mm-hmm. That's a great one. I think we hit up most of them, right? Freddie, Shohei, Judge, Jordan's a great addition there, and Soto. I don't know if you're missing. Are we missing an obvious one? Corey Seager.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good hitters. I'm just in those situations. I rely on like more contact, more on base. They could still slug a little bit. Strikeouts got to be down. I don't know.
And who'd you say? Altuve. It's a good list. Let's go. Everybody, let's do this. Let's go for it. Oh, here we go. Rafael Devers. You weren't here for this topic. Been getting plenty of attention for his recent comments. Well, he let his bat do the talking in Kansas City this weekend.
One out base runner for the Red Sox in the 6th inning. Rafi clubs one in the air to center. Isbell goes back. It is gone!
Oh my God.
Absolutely crushed by Devers.
Okay, so his remarkable series where he went 7 of 12, by the way, with over a 640 on-base percentage, came after the owner, the team president, and the GM all flew out to Kansas City, like I mentioned they should do on Friday's show. They met with Devers about being upset, about being asked to possibly move to first base, and apparently we didn't get a lot of details on this whole thing out of either side. Devers did not talk to the media at all, and the hierarchy of the Red Sox said it was just to make sure he understood what it meant to be a good teammate and things of that nature. Do you think this was all goods all met, or is there still trouble brewing?
Well, Chris, I think it's a good sign they met. Most problems that between people can be solved by having like a real discussion, like going and just hearing each other out. It's like usually the best thing. When you you were right, when you let these situations fester and you don't talk directly, and maybe you're talking through the media, things get misconstrued. You start to have these feelings build up. Once you get in front of somebody and actually have a conversation, look them in the freaking eye. Hey, Gen X, what's the generation right now? Learn to look people in the eye because you don't do it. Sorry. Once you do that, like a lot of like the guard can come down. You can just express your feelings. I think that's probably what happened here. I think both sides messed this situation. I didn't really get a chance to talk about this because I was gone on Friday. I think both sides zooed this situation from the start.
Mm-hmm.
I think it started in the offseason. If you're Devers, you have to understand like a guy like Bregman who I guess wasn't really available until he was available for the Red Sox. Once he becomes a possibility, if you're Devers, you have to know hey, I might have to switch positions. So you have to start thinking that way. You can't just be hard-headed and say, I'm the third baseman. No, this is what teams do. They improve, and sometimes you got to move. Every person. How many guys have played one position their entire career? It doesn't happen, Chris. Mm-hmm. You think you are, and then you move. That's just the bottom line. If he really thought he was going to play third base for the entirety of his career, that's crazy because it doesn't happen. So he started off not being open-minded enough, and then I think there was some bad bad statements by the Red Sox telling him to put his glove away. They should have been clamoring for first base from the get-go, just in case. Like, hey, understand, like, we might need you here. And so, like, it all just got just handled very poorly, I think, throughout this time. But I'm glad they met because I think that does clear the air. And I'm glad that Devers is raking because that makes things a lot easier as well.
Yeah. It was interesting because I said what I said, and I backed Rafael Devers from this standpoint on Friday's show, was that I was trying to look at it through his lens. Not through. It's easy for all of us to say, well, why don't you just be a good goddamn teammate? Tristan Casas just blew out his knee and his career could be in jeopardy. Why don't you just go over there and just do it? If you miss a few balls, you miss a few balls. Like, for us who are just regular people, it's very easy for us to say that. And sometimes, like last Friday, you weren't there. Jake called me. If I had said, no, man, my contract says that I only do dugout discussions and baseball today. It doesn't say anything about talking baseball, right? I suppose I could have done that, but that would have fucked us. And it wouldn't have been good for anybody. And it would have made me look like an asshole and would have been shitty for everybody who works so hard at this company. But that's not how we do it. But we can't compare what we do, what most of us do, to baseball players and professional athletes. Because if so, everybody would be making $30 million a year doing it. It is a very, very small group. And even within that group, Trevor Plouffe, when you played, you did not have the same pull that Rafael Devers had, right?
No, I mean, look, he's obviously had a great career, but I disagree with you. I think it is the same. Like, you being a good teammate on a Major League Baseball team is the same concept as being a good teammate at whatever job that you work at.
Yes, but not everybody is a good teammate. And for some people,
but
Manny Ramirez, for people that forgot this in Boston, did not show up to work for 3 days. And then they finally traded him. You know why they put up with his bullshit? Because he kept parking balls over the green monster. And people forget that Rafael Devers is not just a decent baseball player. They have paid him to mash. Now, is he elite, like when we're talking about the top 10 or 15 players in baseball? No. But when you're talking about the top 15, 20 hitters in baseball, he's there.
He could have taken, I guess, the high road and just done what he should have just said, let me get it. And then there was some people saying the interpretation was off, and he said, I can't play it right now. I want to get better at it before I go out there. So, like, if that's the case, I don't know, man. I don't know Spanish. I'm not fluent in Spanish. I know my baseball Spanish, but there are some aspects to it, second language, and maybe some things did get misconstrued, although he answered follow-up questions about playing first base. He's like, no, not going to happen. I assume, Chris, that we will see Rafael Devers at first base at some point this year.
Do you think, real quickly, I want to see when they return home. I imagine it's this weekend. So hold on a sec. I'm going to pull up their schedule. They return home against the No, that's already done. Sorry. Against the Atlanta Braves. Right. Sale and Crochet on Friday. Oh, that's going to be tasty. What do you think when Rafael Devers steps into the batter's box, the reaction is?
So he hasn't been home since all this went down?
No, they left after he made those comments. They went on the road to Kansas City, and now they're on the road again this week, and he'll return home for Friday's game against the Braves.
I don't know. Does he continue to rake?
Let's say he has a good week. He doesn't.
They're only 2 games behind the Yankees right now.
I know he doesn't have to go 7 for 12 like he did against Kansas City. Let's say he hits 280, something like that this week.
I can't even wrap my head around it. I think he's not going to get booed. What's the boo? You can't boo him.
Oh,
you think he gets booed?
Oh, there's going to be some boos. There'll be some.
I think it'll be a mixture. I think there'll be some people who support him and cheer for him, and some people will boo him. I think that's kind of been a general reaction of this anyway, is that people are on different sides. I don't see like a massive booing going on. I'll tell you what I will see. If he plays first base and he makes a play, the first play he makes, he's probably going to get a standing ovation.
I agree. I think the cheers will be louder than the boos. I also said on last week, I think it was on the Talking Baseball episode that I filled in on. I think that's the one where I said I think he might get traded. But then I went and I said, I think I said that if Craig Breslow is serious about keeping him around, that he should get on a plane and fly to Kansas City. And that's exactly what happened. So I think this is the first peace offering. And I do think that whatever was said behind closed doors, and I don't think it was all hugs and kisses here. I think there was probably a lot of, hey, this is where we stand as an organization. We need you to understand that. And there was probably a lot of, then stop giving me mixed messages and treating me like I'm some scrub. I imagine there was a lot of that.
Isn't this an Alex Cora situation? Like, this is what you pay a manager for, to handle the freaking players.
Well, I think he's a little fed up, to be honest with you, with the way that Breslow has handled this. If I'm reading it the right way.
I mean, pick a team. There's somebody frustrated with the front office. Like, that's normal. Like, so, like, you either have liaisons between the front office and the players, which, you know, some teams have done. Sam Fold was that for the Phillies for a while. Now he's the, you know, GM. But like Cora, and I obviously don't know what goes on behind the closed doors, but they have a good relationship between him and Devers. I feel like he could have just pulled him aside himself and said, "This is what's going on, man. Like, this is what we need you to do. I know that Breslow's, you know, rubbed you the wrong way, and don't worry about them, man. It's us in this clubhouse. Like, it's about us. Don't worry about the front office. Like, that's what you pay guys for, to do that, to keep the peace."
All right, now that we know what we know, why don't you comment? How do you think it all turns out? Now, I'll take it back. I don't think he's going to get traded now that Breslow's gone out there and met face-to-face. I don't think it happens. I think it's probably a few.
Pitchers are always messing everything up, Chris. See, this is what happens, man.
And Ivy Leaguers on top of it.
Ivy League pitchers.
Yep, that's right.
Anybody
got eyes on Kyle Hendricks right now, what he's doing? I'm kidding. All right, let's be real. Most skincare products aren't made for men. And when they are, they're usually not great. They're overly complicated. They're packed with questionable ingredients or just don't deliver good results. That's where Caldera Lab comes in. They've redefined men's skincare by combining advanced science with high-quality, non-toxic ingredients to create a simple, effective routine that actually works. Now, each product, like the Good, the eye serum, and the base layer, it's formulated to support skin health and improve the look and feel of your skin. In a consumer study, men who use Caldera Lab products reported noticeable improvements. 100% said their skin looked smoother and healthier. Almost 97% saw an improvement in skin hydration and texture, and almost 94% said their skin had a more youthful appearance. Skincare, it doesn't have to be complicated, but it should be. Upgrade your routine with Caldera Lab and see the difference for yourself. Go to calderalab.com/today. Use that code today at checkout for 15% off your first order. Guys, skincare is important as you get older. Take care of yourself right now.
Let me in on this a little bit, Chris. You know, I don't always do that, but I've been using Caldera Lab now for the last, I don't know, like 2 months. And the amount of compliments I've gotten is insane, Chris. I'm being serious. Literally every time I go out, your skin looks so good. And it's, dude, this is what I do. This is how easy it is. I'm suggesting this to the audience fully. Okay. Especially for you guys, you know, my age, getting up there. They got the eye stuff put right here. Boom, boom, boom. A little oil, rub it on the face, and then the base layer moisturizer. It's 3 steps, takes freaking 30 seconds, maybe less. And I'm walking around like I'm shining.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Monday shows are always packed. We got a bunch of quick hitting stuff. So let's get through this quick. Kyle Schwarber now tied for the league lead in homers after doing this.
This one is to center and deep. Martinez at the wall. He's done it again. Kyle Schwarber, second home run of the night.
That came on the night that Zach Wheeler threw 7 shutty against the Guardians. Phillies win 2 of 3. Who's been the bigger headliner this year, Schwarber or Wheeler?
Schwarber. And like Wheels is a stud. Obviously, what most of their pitching staff has done has been pretty damn good, especially their starting pitching staff. But Schwarber, to me, he's been really like the only true offensive threat consistently in that Phillies lineup. 998 OPS. Nobody with any significant at bats has above a 781. That's Bryce Harper. So Schwarber, 14 homers, leads all of baseball, 32 runs driven in, 29 walks to 37 strikeouts. Got a 46 game on-base streak going. Like, where would the Phillies be without Kyle Schwarber? So for me, it's him.
It's not even June yet. Call me in June when he starts getting hot. I will say this about Zach Wheeler, and I think it's him. I don't know how anybody hits him.
It's nasty.
He's ridiculous. All right. Pirates win 2 of 3 against Atlanta. Don Kelly now at the helm. He actually got tossed in his second big league game. Do you like that, or is it a little too much?
I love it. I actually sat down and listened to. I watched a couple of these games. I was just interested in Neil Walker was on the call, so I was just listening to how he does. I'd like to see how guys do. Don Kelly, Pittsburgh guy, wants to make his presence felt. I like this. Got the boys fired up. They could actually sweep the series, Chris. They were this close to sweeping. They had a chance, I believe, in the 10th to walk it off in this game that they end up getting. They're losing in extra innings, but. I don't know if he's going to change anything. I did say on Talking Baseball, hey, Key Brian Hayes bunted in that inning that they didn't score. First ever sacrifice bunt of his career. Maybe they're going back to that a little bit. I have no problem with them getting thrown out. In fact, I actually you should do that right away. Set the tone for the boys. Say, I'm here for you. I'll get fired up and get thrown out when need be. I think it's cool. Guys respect that.
Yeah, I was watching it live when it happened. I was like, oh, he did not. Because sometimes I do think that you intentionally set a tone and then it feels
I love it. If it's intentional, I kind of like it even more. So I'm like, all right, at least you're thinking about it.
Okay. The Martian 3-homer game, youngest Yankee to have one of those. When assessing how good New York can be, we never bring up his name. Should we?
Well, dude, I mean, there's a lot of guys in that lineup that have been I'm not going to say overproducing, but have kind of made that lineup a lot longer than we thought it would be. Obviously, he's one of them, but you got to talk about Wells and Ben Rice and all these guys there. So we've been waiting for the big breakout of Dominguez. He's kind of sneaky consistently just been pretty damn good. I don't know if the expectations were so high that people get that voice when you talk about him. Obviously he was supposed to be the second coming, if you will. But I think he's been pretty damn good, Chris. He's young.
He's very young. He's 22. So
yeah.
When assessing the Yankees lineup, we said, well, other than Aaron Judge, we said there's a bunch of guys that have produced at this level or some guys who feel like they're on the precipice of producing at this level, but it really is going to matter which direction that they go that will eventually determine how good this offense can be, right? So Goldschmidt, although he's slumped a little bit lately, has been out of this world. Bellinger hasn't gotten his footing. Jazz is hurt and really wasn't great except for homers when he was healthy. Volpe has been all over the place. He's either an extra base hit or a strikeout. Wells, some really good moments and then some all over the place. And we just never got to Dominguez. Well, until he had his 3-homer game, his OPS was sub 700. He raised it 109 points that evening. He looks like a beast. He really does. He is a Martian. So if he does develop, he's going to knock one of those other guys off the front pages, and we are going to be talking about him.
He's got 60 total games in his career with a 772 OPS. Obviously, the 3-homer game helps when you don't have that many games, but for a 22-year-old to have that, I mean.
Yeah.
I'm in on him.
We got to get to this. Unfortunately, we have to talk about it. Lance McCullers Jr., his second start was miserable. Did not make it out of the first inning against Cincinnati, recorded 1 out. He gave up 7 earned. He then let us know that there are people making online threats against his family.
People are very passionate, and people love the Astros and love sports, but, threatening to find my kids and murder them is a little bit tough to deal with, so.
It's not a lot to say here because we know how asinine the thought process even is, but I'll give you the floor for 30 seconds.
Oh, don't be a loser and do stuff like that. That's ridiculous. Come on. What are we doing? Also, let's just stop reading our DMs. I think that's a good plan of attack.
It is, but I don't think we can blame the victims. I think
I'm not blaming the victim. I'm just saying, don't be an idiot and send stuff like that. And then, look, I've been in the situation. Mm-hmm. I had social media when I was playing, and mm-hmm. I would look at it, and it was great when he did great, and it was horrible when he did bad. And then really, the true advice I would give to anybody playing is have somebody else run your social media. It offers you nothing while you're playing.
I would agree with that because we are in such a branding world that you do want to be active and present and help yourself and your family and everything else. And people are saying, well, why are you checking your DMs when you're getting shelled and your team still? I mean, he did. I mean, if that's your takeaway, I don't know exactly where you are. I will say this. There's such a lack of responsibility by, obviously, number one, the people who put out these threats, but number two, the people who run social media sites. I wouldn't be on it if it wasn't for my business. So I have to be there. But the lack of accountability from these places, I wish we would be able to find these people somehow. And I don't know. I think it's harder than we probably think. And then I would turn them into their bosses. I'd turn them into their bosses because if you say that, if I ran a business, I would want to know who my employees are.
Sure.
And does it get into a slippery slope like, well, how can I judge this and that? Just say this out loud. If you ran a business, do you want somebody who threatened to kill Lance McCullers' kids working for you? Just say that. Because if you do, then I'm not so sure I want to be in that office as well.
Wouldn't it be so great if you had to use your actual picture of you and your actual name on social media? Like, gosh, that would change everything.
It would change everything.
It would
really
change everything.
It would change everything. And it's just a real shame. Let's end on a good note, please, because I do love how baseball does Mom's Day. And in particular, the reaction of the players out there. Jose Alvarado, reliever for the Phillies, had a wonderful, happy Mother's Day. I love Mom. Throw that front and center. That's great. Beautiful.
That's real front and center.
Yeah, it is good. It is good. By the way, do not fine him, Major League Baseball. If you do,
you probably got fined.
Okay. Then there were some great moments in the American League Central. Texas and Detroit were playing. The mom of Josh and Jace Young, they're in attendance, delivered the game ball, took pictures with her kids wearing the split jersey. And how about Josh going deep? That's awesome. Rangers ended up winning. And Salvador Perez's mom comes out, throws out the first pitch to her sonny boy, delivers a perfect strike.
So good.
Excellent.
You thought Sal might have put a catcher's glove on for that. You know, just break it out of the bag. Put it on for your mom for old time's sake.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I did bring that jersey back out that Mary Young was wearing. I think it says Ted on it. Do I got to get that for my guy?
Oh,
you just missed it.
It's a flash frame in there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texas and Detroit, little Ted. There it is.
Oh, that's great.
Good
pickup on your part.
Yeah.
Very good.
Dude, if you wear that jersey with the Tatas hat, you're freaking rocking and rolling.
Speaking of Mother's Day and Major League Baseball players, latest episode of Dugout Discussions, our Queen question of the week is mom stories, and we put a little snippet out. Go listen. There are some wonderful, wonderful stories that the guys tell about their moms and baseball and just growing up. Really good stuff. Plus, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is our guest.
He's your new favorite player, too. You love him.
What?
I said he's your new favorite player. You love him.
Vladdy?
You had a great time with him.
Had a great time with him.
Yeah.
Really cool. Very chill. All right, we are back at it again on Tuesday. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rohr, whom we love very much, and the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Tuesday here on Baseball Today. This week on Dugout Discussions, Vlad Jr. on staying in Canada long-term. So go Maple Leafs.
Go Maple Leafs, yeah.
Okay. Great Mother's Day stories from your favorite major leaguers.
But she'd always catch my bullpens when I was growing up. And the last one she caught, I just smoked her in the thigh.
And we're giving away serious dough to anyone who can identify this hat.
The Giants?
Oh, so close.
No, the G threw you.
The episode is out now on the JM Baseball YouTube channel.